the Epstein leaks. They haven't stopped. There's more coming, but we're in the middle of this wave right now. And we're going to use this moment to kind of look at what's come out and what to anticipate as far as how both sides are trying to play and spin this situation. But it seems that inevitably the ship is going down, and they can only hold on to this information that they want to keep to their close to their chest for only too much longer. But here's where we are right now. This was the breaking news from CNN yesterday on these emergency meetings that are taking place.
Breaking news, CNN has learned there will be a meeting today inside the White House as aides try to manage a potential House vote on the release of the Epstein files. This comes, of course, just hours after Democrats on the Oversight Committee released emails from Jeffrey Epstein himself mentioning Donald Trump by name multiple times. I want to get straight to CNN's Caitlin Polantz. Caitlin, what are you learning?
Well, the House is releasing these files, but it's not everything that the federal government has. Dana, there's additional files still held by the Justice Department that some Republicans on Capitol Hill are in support of releasing. And so that is causing a political response inside the White House right now, where there is a meeting planned, or was a meeting planned today, about the House effort to try and force a vote to get the Justice Department, the Trump administration, to release the rest of the FBI files, the Justice Department files, everything from years of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and others, things that have not seen the light of day yet. What one source tells me, we have multiple sources confirming that this meeting is happening, but what one source tells me is that this meeting was planning to include some key figures from the Justice Department, the FBI Director Kash Patel, the Attorney General Pam Bondi, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, and then one of those Republicans in support of transparency.
Well, that's great. They're going to have all the people that we know have been working really hard to get the truth out. So that's good. You really want those guys, the Kash Patel, just really straight up dude, that just really getting to the truth of it. The same guy who said not too long ago said there are no files and Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. So it's good that they're all meeting about this. Trump put this out on Truth Social earlier today. He's doubling down on the hoax, the Democrats' hoax again. He's still doing it, Jay. The Democrats are trying to bring up Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all.
Did you have the image of Don Jr. before the election saying, release the Epstein files? The only ones who don't want to release it are protecting pedophiles. Then all of a sudden, after Donald Trump gets elected, nothing.
Yeah, that's it. The switch happened. And on the other side, another switch happened. Democrats didn't care about Epstein. They didn't care about anything to do with child sex trafficking, anything to do with that, right? If you wanted to see a movie about that in Hollywood, you weren't going to see it with MGM, you weren't going to see it with Disney. They tried to silence these stories, and you were called QAnon to go out and want to view stories about this type of pedophilia, sex trafficking, all this horrible stuff that's all linked to Epstein. And we're not even getting into the Mossad part just yet, but that's how this stuff flips, right? You do the thing your base tells you to do, and you flip on a dime when it's time to flip on the dime.
And I do want to give credit where it's due, because Ro Khanna is a Democrat who seems to have been somewhat consistent on trying to get to the root of that issue, just like Thomas Massie is a Republican who's been trying to get to the root of the issue throughout both Democrat and Republican administrations. But those guys are the exception. For the most part, Democrats were completely silent about it. So, what I'm wondering, if what we might see happen is it possible they're just going to throw Trump under the bus, for this whole situation? And if there is another impeachment, maybe we do have a President Vance. That is possible. And then Palantir has that top seat in the White House. So because Trump is losing all of his political capital. I don't know if we're going to talk about the H-1B visa thing today, but he's losing all of his capital. So we'll
tag that on the end, but we're showing you guys that there is an unraveling going on. And, don't listen to, a blue mag is telling you that he's got the that he's got the dementia that they said Biden had a stutter. That's not what's going on here. This is somebody who's getting trapped in a corner. I think he does have health issues, but he certainly has his mental capacity. But what he's doing is he's running out of options. He's like, if you are playing, let's go back to the chess. If you're on a chessboard, and a lot, the 10D chess, that's not a thing. It's so guys, 10D chess is not a thing. None of these numbered chess is a thing. A normal game of chess, this is the guy that's getting stuck in the corner of the chessboard. He already lost his queen. He's got really nothing left except to move little pawn pieces here and there. And then you're like, well, how long can you do that till there's a stalemate or a checkmate? You don't really have any options left.
I will say, I do think they're playing 10D chess just against us. Like it's not in favor of us. They're not playing 10D chess to protect us. They're playing 10D chess to screw us over. Yeah. So that's my opinion.
Well, we'll get to the other places he's failing. But the Epstein, as you can see in this tweet, then this is just this morning. He's basically saying that this is a distraction, and he's urging them, don't talk about Epstein. We got to deal with the $1.5 trillion, blah 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 blah, all this other stuff. So it's all this like, guys, don't fall for it, don't listen to it. So that's his last plea. When everybody knows on both sides at this point, everybody knows that there's information that we want to see, regardless of what tribe you're in. I think at this point, it would be hard to find somebody right now that would tell you that the Epstein story is over and there's nothing else to it. That would be hard to find at this point. And that's not good for any of them. That's actually not good for the Democrats or the Republicans, that you can't find a person right now that'll tell you that story's over. There's nothing there. It's over. Because both sides want to get the other side. Well, let's look at the leak that happened that this incriminated Trump. So this, we saw a few people put this out. I like this guy's account, that is Israel Exposed. Leaked emails in which Epstein, an Israeli asset, claimed that Donald Trump knew about the girls and spent hours with one of his victims. So we blew up a couple of these ones here. These are just little email leaks that we can see. This one dated on 2015, and yes, this is from Michael Wolff going to Jeffrey E. It's a heads up.
Really quick. Go for it. It's amazing that more people are not questioning Michael Wolff right now, because what I'm seeing in these emails is Michael Wolff, who everyone praised for writing a book about Trump, is actually coordinating with Jeffrey Epstein and helping him strategize about how to protect himself. Like, how is nobody asking Michael Wolff questions? Like, shouldn't we be questioning him? Shouldn't we be putting a little bit of pressure on him? Nothing.
Yeah. Well, you're right. And but look, I mean, you can see this. He's maneuvering. If you see that second sentence, he says you can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible. When asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy. So this is all this little, like, how should we spin this thing on this relationship?
And this is after Jeffrey Epstein was already convicted of being a pedophile in Florida. So Michael Wolff had to know that when he wrote that email. This
is the spinning of how do we make this okay for Trump because of his relationship, and we know that he will be tied to this. What do we do about that? So let's go back before the 2015, when things weren't like that before he was convicted, right? So you had more of these. Here's 2011. This is from GMAX. This is importance high. This is a high importance. I have been thinking about that. So this is a reaction to Jeffrey Epstein sending the email. The original email is, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. And victim, this is the victim that's been redacted there, spent hours at my house with him. He's never once been mentioned, police chief, etc. And I'm 75% there. Weird. This next one, Jay, is even more bizarre. This is the one. This is from. This is 2019. Okay. Victim Mar-a-Lago, blacked out. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls, as he asked Maxwell to stop. Wow. This is to Michael Wolff. So we're not like, I think that's a great point you make. Why are we not going after Michael Wolff in these emails? Mm-hmm. Then you brought this up, Jay, the timing of these coming out. Coincidence? Huh? Is it? Epstein's estate releases the Trump emails, and within hours, Trump sends a letter for Netanyahu's pardon of domestic corruption charges. But make no mistake, we got to tell you guys, there's no connection, as Kash Patel tells us, there's no connection between Epstein and Israel. Pam Bondi's going to get back to us about it, though. She said she would look into it and let us know. So we're waiting for that. But as far as we're knowing, there is no connection. But this pardon letter, we're not going to read it for you, but this is the official letter that went out moments after these went through. So there you go. There's your pardon. And I think this letter should be front page news. What the F are you? Netanyahu and pardon should never be in the same sentence ever. That's my stance. Yep.
And, people forget that the whole Monica Lewinsky story was actually tied to an Israeli spy who we had in jail over here.
They don't forget it. They don't know
nuclear secrets. So
I just want to say they don't forget it, Jay. They don't know that.
Yeah, people don't know. People don't know.
Tell our viewers that connection. It's very important.
And for those who haven't added it up, Lewinsky happens to be, a Jewish name. Probably she is a Zionist who cares very much about the future of Israel. She happened to be in the office, and she was the one who had this relationship with Bill Clinton. And then the only time it went public was when Bill Clinton was being pressured behind the scenes to pardon and release an Israeli spy who was convicted of, I believe, stealing our nuclear secrets and giving it to Israel, right? I believe that's what he was accused of, or he had stole some uranium. I forget the details around it, but long story short, it was directly tied to Israel trying to pressure our president to do something. So this doesn't even account for the USS Liberty, when we know that they bombed our ship and then tried to blame it on Egypt to trick us into entering a war for them. This doesn't account for all the coincidences around 9/11 that at least tell us that Israel had foreknowledge of it, of what was going to happen if they weren't the ones who planned it. This doesn't account for all the coincidences between the JFK assassination and the Israel lobby. And again, I'm not saying Israel is entirely responsible for any one of these incidents, because I do believe the deep state and the oligarchs and the powers that be, they're using Israel as a proxy for what they're trying to do. So, but they do have their hands in a whole lot of things. And if you remove the power of the proxy, then you actually remove a lot of the power from the forces above. So, there's no question that the influence, the impact of Israel on America is extremely negative. It's extremely negative. And for anyone out there to still consider Israel to be our top ally, I would encourage them to just look into the history a little bit more. So, but thankfully, there's not many people out there still under that impression. It's only a few left, at least amongst young people. Like, we seem to know what's happening, which is why, we really do have to watch out for false flags to be blamed on Muslims and false flags to be blamed on Russia. I think those are two issues that we really need to be concerned about at this point in time because of what the establishment's trying to do. So,
yeah. One more important email that was released, and our friends at DD Geopolitics grabbed this one. Trump did not cut ties with Epstein. And so this is an important one. December 2017. So he's already been in office for, the entire calendar year of 2017. This is like the end of his first year. And this is an exchange between Epstein and one of the victims. And on that exchange, it says, "I'm at the door, but I will wait for my time. I don't want to come early to find Trump in your house." I guess the laughing emojis. This message was sent in the first year, right? After he had claimed to have cut ties with Epstein. Obviously, he had claimed that already. He was president. And he said, "I have no," but this does raise questions. And this is the email. It's in there. But that these are things that are, making a lot of MAGAs very concerned right now. If they weren't already concerned, right? If they weren't already concerned about all the other garbage and all the other bait and switches and all the other things we've been covering on our show for the last year, this could be the one for them. This could be the breaking point.
Yeah. And by the way, shout out to DD Geopolitics. For those who don't know, one of the founders, Sarah from DDG Geopolitics, she recently announced over the last few days that they seem to have been sent an additional black book
Yes.
that may have been hidden from Epstein. So we got to get her on the show. Like I'm kind of cool with her, so I'm going to reach out, but we need to get her on the show so they can talk about that. Actually.
I would love to talk about it. And we have, we actually do have a clip of that interview. The guy's name is Christopher Halali, and he got his hands on a second book, and it's been verified. And this is just a clip of him. He did the show. You guys should check out the interview, but we want Sarah on. We can talk in further about this, but there's a second book from the 90s that completely checks out. Here's him talking about how he got his hands on it, and that we will be seeing some releasing from this. And this ain't no Cash Patel bait and switch Pam Bondi bullshit. This is real stuff that they have. And yes, shout out to Sarah for getting this story. Here it is.
For the first book, which was published, I stumbled onto an eBay listing for another Epstein book. And so I was quite surprised with this whole thing. And I said, at first I found it very strange. I said, why would somebody be selling about a $500 reproduction of something that you can just PDF and I could print it out at my school for free? So I messaged the person directly and I asked them, can you tell me the provenance of this item? Can you tell me about the book, how you came to have it? Is it real? Like, what do you know about it? And the person was very genuine, basically like, look, I found it in the 90s. And when they said found it in the 90s, my head, kind of exploded because the other book was authenticated to the 2000s. And so this would mean that this was an earlier version. So immediately I started to ask some other questions. And basically it was just kind of like, a woman who was kind of like a music kind of groupie hanging around New York City in the 90s, kind of like, I don't know, kind of in between grunge hippie style, and was just walking down Fifth Avenue and saw this group of people, this entourage get into a limo, and this guy dropped this book. And so she picked it up and kind of ran after them. They left. And so she kind of looked at it and said, oh, it's a curiosity, because nobody knew who a lot of the people were. I mean, she knew some of the people in there, but she was like, okay, it's just, an average book. But she didn't know who Epstein was. She knew who Trump was and things like that, of course, in those days. So she kept the book, and she eventually moved to the West Coast from the East Coast and put it into storage. And lo and behold, as she was cleaning out her storage unit, she stumbled back on the book and then realized what it was. And then she tried to before me, she contacted the New York Times, the Washington Post, MSNBC.
And this isn't the first time we've heard about that. People trying to get a story on Epstein. And this is another story about this where they don't want to do this story. And that was in unison. Whoever you talk to about Epstein, there's no story. There's no story. They were all in on it. So let's not let that part get by here. All of the media companies were in on protecting this story. And why would that be, Jay? Why? I want to play the end of this because they make a little joke about, hey, it's not a joke though. None of us are suicidal. That needs to be said. So let me play that. And then I wanted to talk about the media part of this because that's very important.
ABC, CBS about the book and said that she had it and that they should report on it, and nobody reported on it. So she never got a call. She even told me, she's like, I wrote personally to like Rachel Maddow and all these people, and nobody got back to me. So I said, look, I'm going to buy the book. I'm going to take the risk. And, my wife at the time was ready to hang me and, string me up for spending what ended up being about $425. But she said she needed new tires and she needed to sell it quick. So I was like, no problem. I'll help you out. So I still have it, and I'm doing research. There's going to be an article coming out soon on a very bombshell news story. I can't go into details now. Been working on it for about 4 years. And I think that we're at the tail end of it. So just get ready for that in the next few months. Hopefully nothing happens to me. I'm not suicidal.
What about me? I got to get out of the belly of the beast. Oh my God.
I know.
We're with you, Sarah. We're also here going, what about us now? Because I guess we're all in on it. But that part is important, Jay. The part about the media that didn't want to return phone calls, not because it was this guy Christopher, it's because they were protecting the story, and that's not how so media has been completely guilty of protecting the story, and that's how people don't know that they think that that's not true. They go, oh no, if I'm in journalism, I would think that I want to get viewers and I would get viewers if I could break a story. So none of that. So there's a lot of people that don't understand that that's not the job of them. Their job
they
is
want to get viewers, but that's not the top priority.
Yeah.
The top priority is making sure you're not doing anything that damages the establishment interests, and you're furthering establishment interests. And if you can get viewers along the way, great. The more viewers, the merrier. But the primary goal is not giving people good information. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's and I think we'll top this off with that. Yes, the MAGA collapse is happening, and it's not just because of Epstein, because Trump has had to twist and turn and maneuver around core principles that we know to be what we call conservative values, which we should have known this is coming at some point, because the guy was never authentically conservative. He was a Democrat. He moved into the Republican space because he famously said, "This is where I can get the most." I can kind of, whatever the language he used, but it was like, hey, I can play this. There's a lane for me here. That's it. He's a lane maneuver. He's a maneuverer, right? He's an opportunist. So he's losing the conservative values when he starts spinning about we need to outsource, or I'm sorry, we need to recruit, right? So we're talking. He sat down on this awful interview here where he's talking about bringing in the talent. And I want you to respond to this one, Jay, because this is, I think this is another moment.
Dropping.
The ship is sinking. Okay, here we go. Trump is going to bring in the talent because we're not talented.
Let's have to talk about it later.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
when you and I were
I'll give you an example.
She seems legitimately peeved right here. Like that reaction, that was good. She's like, what the hell are you talking about? How do we do this before? What's wrong with you, man?
So I want people to recognize something, right? H-1B visas were designed to fill gaps that cannot be filled in the American job market. Like, the whole point of it was, if there's a special skill set that we cannot find here, then you can go overseas to get that skill set. But that's not how H-1B visas have been used. Instead, what's happened is we tell all these Americans, you should go to college, get in debt for hundreds of thousands of dollars to get degrees in these high-tech areas. And then when you get out of school, you won't be able to work in that field because they're going to bring someone in from a third world country who probably has, a lot of the same skills too, but they're willing to take a fraction of the wage that you're willing to take. And if you also take that one step further, guess what, Matt? If you are in this country on an H-1B visa and you're coming from a not so great situation overseas, and you know that if you get fired from this job for, say, standing up for what's right, then you're going to go right back to where you came from, you're less likely to be able to stand up if you see something, negative. Like, you're much less likely to have H-1B whistleblowers about evil things that may be done at these tech companies than you would if there were actual Americans working over there. So again, I don't have anything against immigrants. I do think we should have a smart immigration policy, but at the end of the day, we can't set up a country where we tell people to go to school to get in all this debt and study these degrees, but then they can't get jobs because companies are hiring people who will do it for a fraction of the price. And it's essentially someone they can fully control because they can send them home at the drop of a hat. Oh, you don't like the fact that we're invading the privacy of all Americans and we're essentially breaking the law without telling people? You don't like that? Well, if you say something, you're out of here. Most times, those people are not going to say anything. Does that mean every time they're going to go along with it? No. But just be realistic. Who is more likely to be a whistleblower in that situation? So I think the combination of those two factors or why tech companies want to outsource so much of this H-1B visa work. And, it's destructive not only to the American market, but in the long run, it's also destructive to the countries we're taking them from, because we're doing a brain drain of a lot of the best talent over there. We're bringing them over here, and we're essentially putting them in a situation where they have to be silent and they have to do as they're told. So we got to look at the overall impact. And for him to say this, I mean, I will say there is a lot of MAGA that is now jumping off the bandwagon. So, he is losing a ton of support right now, but there's still a little core of his base that, are finding ways to twist and defend this. Like, Matt, I even heard some MAGA people tell me that Jolani is reformed now. And, he's the only reason Trump has brought him to the White House is because he's turned over a new leaf. So there are some people who just can't be saved. There are some people who are just not going to hear it, just like how Obama has his dedicated followers and people who will still say that he's a progressive who fought for our rights. You'll have those supporters on the Trump side, but it does feel like Trump is losing a huge amount of support. And I think that H-1B visa thing, along with the Epstein thing, both of those are doing tremendous damage to his reputation right now. So, not
to mention Gaza, Palestine,
and the wars, exactly,
Venezuela,
and the wars,
Ukraine. I mean, the list is long. And then you mentioned Jelani, and I think that even the handful of them that believe that garbage, I think the others are saying, how are we supposed to be afraid of it? Sharia laws coming to New York, but you have a reformed terrorist that promises not to kill any more people.
Yeah. I'm no Mandani fan. Yeah.
You can't twist that. And it's like you're doing it at the same exact time. You couldn't even let a month go by so people have that, the memory hole problem. No, you literally did it on the same time. You flew the guy in and
listen,
reform terrorist at the same time. Sharia law is going to take over New York.
Even if you believe Mamdani is a closet terrorist and a closet Sharia law guy, because he's never said that publicly. He's never said that I'm going to implement Sharia law.
Of course,
this guy Jelani says it publicly. Like, this is what he spent his whole career doing. Like, he's famous for executing Christians and Muslims who don't agree with his form of Islam all over Syria and the Druze. So it's like, you do all of this over there in Syria, and then Trump brings you to the White House and tells you to be fearful of this quote unquote closet Sharia law guy. I mean, I would say this: if you're still on the MAGA boat, because most of the people have ditched, they're not on. It's going down. So if you're going down with the ship, just know that tribal mindset is the thing that killed you, because the tribal mindset, you're being told what to think and do, and you're not thinking for yourself. At this point, you're just not thinking for yourself, and you're literally going down with the ship at this point. I think what people need to do is focus on where we agree. I think there can be a certain amount of disagreement and decentralization on some of the social issues, and we can leave that to be decided a little bit more at the local level. But the right and the left actually agree on a lot of the core issues. And if we could just focus there, we could see some major improvement in the country. And, that's what we're trying to do at the We the People Party. So on that note, make sure you guys go check out that link right there, www.wtpnational.com.